Now, today's topic of discussion is Gauss law. Now, we will find the flux through a sphere of radius r which encloses a point charge q at a center. Okay. Now, we are going to divide the sphere into small area elements which is given in this figure. Okay. Try to understand this figure. Here a sphere is given to you. Okay. Now the charge q is taken at the center, or we can say charge q is at its center. Okay. So here the charge q is located. Okay. So charge q is enclosed by this sphere. Okay. So sphere is enclosing the charge q, and we are going to divide this spherical surface in a small area element. Let us consider that this area element is delta S. Now this is our positive charge. Okay. And as you know that electric field is always going outward or going away from the positive charge. So this is the direction of electric field. Okay, this is the direction of electric field. And area vector, try to understand, area vector is always perpendicular to the surface. So if you consider this a small surface delta S, then its area vector will also be in the direction of electric field because it is perpendicular to surface. This is our understanding. Okay. The radius of the sphere is r. Okay. These are the things that you should keep in mind while studying this. Okay. So delta S is the area, and its area vector is perpendicular to the surface, and that is why this area vector is, we can say, in the direction of electric field vector E, which is shown by this arrow. Okay. Now the flux through the area element delta S we want to find. Now flux is E dot delta S. Okay. Now electric field due to this charge Q is given by the equation kq upon r square. I am not writing 1 upon 4 pi epsilon 0 just now. kq upon r square. This is the electric field, or we can say magnitude of electric field. It is going outward. This is the direction. That is the direction which is in the direction of radius, or we can say radial direction. So we write r cap. Why are we writing r cap? To show the direction which is radial direction, outward direction. Dot the vector of area, that is delta S. Okay. So this will be the flux which is passing through a small area of delta S. So delta phi, that is E dot delta S. Both are vectors. Okay. So E dot delta S is given by this equation. Okay. Now we have used this unit vector, okay, vector r cap, which is along the direction of radius, okay, from the center to the area element. Okay. Now since the normal to the sphere at every point is along the radius vector that I have explained, that normal to the sphere is always in the direction of vector r. So we can say delta S and delta r, they are in the same direction. They are in the same direction. Okay. When they are in the same direction, that dot product, okay, a dot b is equal to ab cos theta, and when two vectors are in same direction, then theta will be equal to 0. Okay. And magnitude of unit vector, as you know, r cap, magnitude of unit vector is 1 unit. So the earlier equation, okay, earlier equation that we have written, okay, this equation, okay, that can be written as, how can you write this dot product? So it becomes k q upon r square. Magnitude of r cap is 1 unit. Dot product means cos theta, so cos 0 it becomes, because the angle between r cap and delta s is 0, so cos 0 delta s. Okay, cos 0 is 1. So we can write kq upon r square into delta s, that is written in the next slide, or we can say that is there in the next slide. Okay, so this is written kq upon r square into delta s, as r cap is having unit, as it is a unit vector, its magnitude is 1. Okay. Okay, so the unit vector is having 1 magnitude, that you can understand. Now the total flux, if you want to find, that can be obtained, okay, by adding the flux through all the different small area elements. Okay, so sigma all delta s we have written, sigma all delta s. Okay, and if you find all such small area elements, all sigma delta s if you find, okay, then you will get the total area, that is total surface area of the sphere, and that total surface area is 4 pi r square. So instead of this s we write 4 pi r square, so it is written here. Okay, and 4 pi will be cancelled out, this r square will also be cancelled out, so you will have q upon epsilon 0. Epsilon 0 is not getting cancelled out. Okay, so Gauss law can be understood as electric flux through a closed surface. Now try to understand, we had this closed surface, charge q was there at its center, so the electric flux which is passing through this closed spherical surface which we have taken into consideration is nothing but q upon epsilon 0. Okay, so electric flux through a closed surface S, the surface area is S. Okay, then the closed surface whose area is S is given by charge enclosed upon permittivity of free space. So we can write this Gauss law, that total electric flux through a closed surface is the ratio of charge enclosed by the surface to epsilon 0. Let us note some of the important points regarding this law. Gauss law is true for any closed surface, no matter what its shape or size. The term q on the right side of the Gauss law in this equation which we have derived includes the sum of all the charges which are enclosed by the surface. The charges may be located anywhere inside the surface. Now try to understand, you have this spherical surface. One charge q is here, then say 2q is somewhere here, then minus q is here. You have to take into consideration all these charges which are enclosed, and you take the vector sum, or rather algebraic sum of all these charges. Algebraic sum will give you the total charge enclosed in this particular surface as 2q. Okay, so the flux will be 2q upon epsilon 0, because minus q and plus q will be cancelled out. Okay, so all the charges wherever they are located within the surface, okay, wherever you have taken the surface, you have to find the charges which are enclosed by the surface. Okay, all those charges we have to take into consideration. Okay, In the situation when the surface is so chosen that there are some charges inside and some outside, the electric field is due to all the charges, both inside and outside, that is surface has. The term Q on the right side of the Gauss law, however, represent only total charge inside the surface. Okay. So if you have this surface, you have how much charge enclosed by the surface? 2Q. Now some charges are here, Q is here, say 3Q is here. Okay, they all are responsible for producing electric field, but the flux, when you want to find, or when you want to find the calculation of the flux, then you have to take into consideration only those charges which are within the surface, not the charges which are outside the surface. Outside the surface wala charges che, they are responsible for producing electric field, but for the calculation of electric flux you have to consider only those charges which are enclosed by the surface. Okay. The surface that we choose, that is known as the Gaussian surface. You can choose any arbitrary surface, but generally we choose a surface which is a symmetric. Okay. Gauss law is often useful towards much easier calculation of electric field when the system has some symmetry. System having symmetry, then you can use this Gauss law for the calculation of electric field and the calculation becomes easy. This is facilitated by the choice of suitable Gaussian surface. So Gaussian surface you should choose so that its area is known, it is symmetric. Okay. Gauss law is based on the inverse square dependence on distance contained in the Coulomb's law. Okay, Gauss law is based on S such E is equal to KQ upon R square. So basics of this Gauss law is in the inverse square dependence which is there in the Coulomb's law. If Gauss law is violated or any violation of Gauss law will indicate departure from the inverse square law. Okay. So if there is a violation of Gauss law, then we can say that there is no following of inverse square law. Okay. Thank you very much. This is a very important topic. Write 2-3 times and learn it. Okay.